now in the special ABN cast episode filmed at the Predictive Aircraft Maintenance Conference in Dublin is Stephen Rayner, who's a senior technical engineer in the Predictive Maintenance Group at British Airways.
Yeah.
Stephen, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming to the event. Also, thanks for speaking this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure. And yeah, thanks for the invite along. It's great to be there to represent BA and share our predictive maintenance journey so far.
No problem. So, actually, let's start with the fact that BA has got a predictive aircraft maintenance group in the business. That's a very positive move, particularly positive for us who run the PAM conference. What does it indicate to outside of the BA family about what BA is doing with the business attitude towards it for the future?
Yeah, I think it's a good indication of where we're heading for the future and the commitment and the buy-in that's been taken by senior management within engineering and within the airline itself to invest in this. And we've had the tools in place for quite a while. Right, we've been aware of it. It's not something that's suddenly sprung upon us, and we've been aware of it for a long, long time and just monitoring what's been going on, but weren't quite in a position as an airline sort of post-pandemic to be actioning all of these predictors. Yeah. In my previous job role, I worked in our power plant operational support department, and we were using like CNRs and alerts and advisories from Rolls-Royce to do the trend monitoring and predictors on the airplanes. Yeah. And now it's sort of, we're trying to move it to the wider fleet. So I'm drawing on my experience of like 12, 13 years in operational support of engines to bring these models and expand it to the whole fleet.
So, predictive, like I say, predictive itself is nothing new. It will be not predictive being used in other sectors like automotive, energy for a long, long time, anything to do with factories, anything you really got moving parts. So it's not a new concept. But you suggested there that maybe aviation's picking this up, particularly post-COVID. What's the drivers?
We've just looking to improve our operations. We've got our TDR levels and our MEL numbers back down to manageable levels now post-pandemic, and just looking for those extra little improvements that can be made and save on some delays, and so we can try and reduce the disruption for passengers is a key thing, and passenger comfort on board was some of the items that we've been working on with the predictive alerts. Yeah. And just trying to smooth things out. And the way I pitch it to some of my colleagues in engineering is that trying to make their life easier as well and their days easier, so that if we can identify a component that's going to be failing in the next week or so, we can plan it in advance, have all the spares lined up, have the downtime arranged, and have all the tools and equipment, everything they need. So when they come into work, rather than being hit by a surprise of a aircraft that pulls up on stand with a flight defect and having to quickly fix that defect before the aircraft flies or any other, we can have everything in place ready. Yeah. So our guys can come into work and fix the aeroplane and send it on its way smoothly with no disruption.
Operating less reactively, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is always a problem, because you simply, I'll take the longest, that efficient. Yeah. And if the industry needs anything at the moment, it needs greater efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The reasons we know.
Yeah, and it's just trying to support our colleagues who have very busy days, and so that can be very, very reactive, and so what comes onto stand each day is just trying to smooth out their operation and reduce some like duplicated workloads and things, like rather than blocking out a valve or an item on an aircraft, you then have to go and unlock it to change it. So if you change it first time, then you've saved some of that extra workload as well. So we're trying to smooth our operation.
We've heard this morning on certainly one of the panels with the airlines the importance of senior buy-in to predictive, but also buy-in throughout the whole back chain, engineers themselves. How are you succeeding in getting that kind of buy-in from down?
Yeah, it came from our Chief Technical Officer, Andy Best, who wanted us to start looking into this year to make the use of the systems we had in place with our Aviatar and AHM. And that came through the director of our fleet technical support department to ask us to step away from our sort of previous jobs and focus on the predictive, and then we've reported back our successes to Sean Doyle and the whole BA management committee. So it's very much top level of and they were very, very impressed with what we were doing and could see the benefit from it. I could also appreciate that we're at the very start of this journey. The whole some airlines have had a bit more experience to it than we have, but it feels like the whole industry is really at the beginning of this, and we're just sort of tapping into the potential of it all. So the foothills really, the big steep slope to find it. Yeah, so that management buy-in from the very top level has been essential.
When you talk to the Sean Doors this world about are they interested in the real sort of the mechanics of predictive, or is they go, look, just give me the cold hard financials really? Is that what I mean?
Yeah, there was the pitch, the promotion we did to them was a bit of both. We covered the benefits to the operation of the reduced cancellations and delays and disruptions, but then also the savings of fuel savings from fuel penalties that you can incur when you lock out certain components. And then that ties in with our sustainability targets as well. So when we're looking at the potential like CO2 saved, it ticks quite a few boxes as well. It's in maintenance, and it's certainly expanded far beyond where we thought it would originally. As engineers, we were sort of just looking at the data and we can predict when this part's going to fail. But when we started to look at the bigger picture of our staff in the terminals, our passengers, the environment, our fuel bills, and it's got a wider reaching.
You can certainly see without external mandates around sustainability, that's what makes a corporate move suddenly.
Yeah.
Well, you've got the sustainability side.
Yeah.
Led to customer service. Well, you mentioned E261 was the key point of the predictive became more important. But why is that? Because suddenly you lost too much.
So financial implication. We have like IATA related delays as well when it pulls back on stands. When we've done a lot of work on high pressure shuttle valves on 777s because that gets tested on taxi out, and if it triggers the message, then it's a return to stand and a no-go. So we've been working hard to change those valves to prevent the return to stands and the delays and to our passengers.
So we've had the morning so far. Lunch has just finished for the afternoon session. I'm just about to go and let you get back over in a minute. What you said, BA's on the start of the journey to be out. You've heard from airlines who are not on the start. In particular, that's sort of 20 years. What have you seen today or heard today that gives you a sort of hope for the future that VA can really grasp this and move quickly into a better future?
Yeah, I think the commitment from our senior managers and the success we've seen so far in such a short time with a relatively small team. And we've seen good results. We're pleased with what we're doing. We've been able to validate the results as well and actually prove the benefits. And that's essential to then getting us the buy-in to expand the team and expand to more fleets. And as I mentioned in my presentation, we've got quite a big fleet of varied aircraft. So it's not just a easy fleet of all Airbus or all Boeing. We've got a real mix of having to deal with
old and new.
We've got new aircraft arriving, so we need to tap into more experience within our cohort of people's skills on particular sub-fleets and look at what predictors can be developed for those. And we've got off to a really good start with the 787 because that's so data rich. So then trying to apply similar successes to some of the older fleet that's going to come with this challenge. But it's great to see what EasyJet are doing on their 320 fleet. And
you showed an exclusive video that actually isn't really for public consumption yet. So the guy's got a nice exclusive. But what it showed was not it was yourself, but the team. A small team.
There's two technical engineers. We've got a licensed aircraft engineer with 777 and 78 cover on the team with us, and then our project manager, and then a couple of graduates that are on our program that have supported us along the way.
So that was exactly what was standing out from that is the youth of the team. These young people, these graduates in and helping with this. It is the grasping of predictive and all the thing you need around like data analytics. That's obviously changing the skills that you as an airline need to bring into the. And how are you managing that? How are you finding those people?
I think I'm really pleased with how our team's put together. I've been at BA for 30 years now and worked up from an apprentice through to a full B1 engineer at Part 21, the design signatory in the power plant department, and now into predictive. So I've got sort of quite a long history in the airline. And then, we've got recent hands-on experience for the licensed engineer, John, that's working with us, and the graduates just bringing this new sort of enthusiasm and sort of the latest technology and using Copilot, ChatGPT, and all of these sort of other systems that I'm not quite so familiar with, but it's great to learn. I can learn as much from them as they can from me, my sort of years of experience in the industry.
Were these young people, the graduates, were they through navigation before they came to BA, or did you have to sort of reach out to them and say, look, come to aviation, do what you do in aviation?
They've all got aviation degrees, and so then applied sort of off the back of that to join BA.
So you think going forward though, when the industry needs more of this kind of skill, that it's going to have to appeal to a broad audience of people doing the right STEM subjects in university?
And we've done some work like STEM on our open days as well that we've had in engineering recently to try and encourage more people into the industry. And we're I think recruitment's open at the moment for the next year's graduate scheme as well. So it's great that BA's got that commitment to keep on the graduate scheme going. We've got an apprenticeship scheme as well. So we're trying to get more people into the industry as well.
The truth is, although there's lots of sectors they can choose to work in, aviation offers an exciting career path.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been here 30 years. I'm really good at it. Straight from school and still working within the industry and lots of varied jobs throughout my career in BA as well. That's what's quite exciting about it as well. You're not just going to be stuck on one job for the whole time. You can stay within one company and do
Also, the difference you can make, like you said, in this particular area, you're quite low down on the steep curve. That's ahead of us. But you can make a huge difference in an area that requires change. There's a lot to do. Maybe, and it's more obvious to the consumer because otherwise, in another sector where what your input is hardly, it's not really understood well. But in aviation, you can really.
Yeah, I think we see it with the benefit of our operation, but as one of the speakers said earlier, yes, ideally predictive maintenance would be slightly unseen because we're stopping things happening. So how do you prove what we've done?
Well, if it didn't happen.
So that's one of the struggles we've had as to how to sort of promote ourselves really and show the good work we've done, because if we've done our job properly, no one knows.
Well, I won't keep you any longer, and I'll get back to the session. But thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Okay, so next into our temporary ABN Cast studio here at the Predictive Aircraft Maintenance Conference in Dublin is Anna Powrie, and she is the Senior Director of Data and Analytics at GE Aerospace, and GE is one of our partners for this week. So we thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the event. We're nearly halfway through the second day. How's it been for you? Anna, you're a veteran of these events to a degree because you've been to quite a few.
This is my third event, so yes, I've got a bit of history now on how they are. But first of all, yes, thanks for inviting me to come and speak a bit about this. And it's been great for GE to be a sponsor yet again. But yes, for me, it's been great. I think, as you say, I'm a veteran, so I'm now in my third event, and it's a great data point for us, or for me, to look at like how the industry trends are changing and moving. And when I think back 2 years ago in London, what people were talking about and how things have evolved now. So I'm really enjoying that.
You think things have moved in that time? 2 years is a long time, but things are moving quickly these days, particularly with technology and data. So.
I felt 2 years ago there was a little bit of data being shown and people were talking quite tentatively about what they were doing in terms of predictive aircraft maintenance. I think now we've seen a lot of really good case studies and a lot of really good examples from the airlines in particular, what they're up to. I think there's the kind of OEM and there's the tech check-in as well. So I think 2 years ago people weren't really talking about machine learning and AI that much.
That is interesting from the airlines' point of view. We often reach out to airlines to speak, particularly being in Dublin. So the obvious airline to come and speak was Ryanair. And I think in the past they've said, well, you'd love to, but we're not doing much in predictive. Of course, yesterday we had Rayner open the show, and it was really good insight into what is an amazingly large airline and growing, and good insight into how they see predictive being part of its future, because in a sense it has to be. And that's what you took from his presentation, that if they're going to grow to this 800 strong fleet, predictive's got to play a part, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yes. And I think they were demonstrating that quite admirably. And I think this is the whole point. People are quite nervous about some of the things we're doing and automation, and is it going to take work away from the industry? But no, if the industry wants to grow, it's got to find other ways to scale up other than just adding more bodies and resources. So yes, I think what Ryanair was showing was fantastic, and we've seen it with a lot of other airlines as well. But the other thing I liked about is we've got such a span of airlines talking. So we've got the kind of startups and people who are new to this, and I've even been talking to people that are like, well, I've come along just to get some idea of how my airline might kick this off. We've got like 4 aircraft.
So people are not only at the first stage, they're not even at the first stage.
Indeed,
they're just testing the water, if you like, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I feel this conference is just like a really good place for people to come and find out know-how, what other people are doing, where people are on their journey, what they could do, what good advice. I think it's been great, things like saying, if you want to start this, you need to convince your CEO first. You've got to kind of have some kind of financial case. But then we're also seeing that the airlines, as you say, like Ryanair or EasyJet or BA even, who are doing this, they've already got really good data to prop up their cause and say, this is why we need to do it.
I was going to mention BA, one of the bigger airlines out there, but even them telling us we're really at the start of this in some respects, but Stephen from BA was showing us his team, a really
Yes.
interesting team of people, not the classic sort of engineering type people you get in the aviation sector. So he's got this young data sort of digitally savvy team all ready to go, which is a really really inspiring in some ways, that you see that the BA are really grasping this now.
I think so. And I mean, I think their point was that like, they started 7 months ago and look where we are now.
Yeah.
But I think, two things I'd say, again, just you've reminded me, because of BA, this is not just one particular kind of skill set that you need to do this journey. You've got to have everything from the sort of data savvy to the operators to the OEMs to the designers. You've got to have all that information together and have people come and add their bit to the story to make it work. I will just say another thing, if I may,
sure, of
because
course.
I think this is a really good plug. So I'm in data science and analytics,
Sure, yeah.
and a lot of the knowledge and enthusiasm from that is coming from the younger people.
Yeah.
Does that sound patronising?
They've grown up with it, haven't they? This is the thing.
Yeah.
They've grown up in a digital world, and data underpins that, doesn't it?
It
So
does,
they're not
absolutely.
scared of it.
They're
I
not
guess.
scared of it, and I think their brains they're like sponges. They absorb all this. It's really fantastic. So I think it's great to see that whole. It's not just diversity in the skill set; it's diversity in a lot of other things that we're seeing.
We've heard a lot about the manpower issues and challenges in aviation. Obviously, to do with more the sort of traditional maintenance and engineering jobs. But at the same time, we need to bring this new generation of younger people through as well. And so you kind of see it's happening in this conference. They're here, and some are talking on stage. We just spoke to the representative of Air France KLM. He spoke. Very very young, but data savvy. And very passionate about the industry as well, which is good to see.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we'll just see that this is not an exclusive conference in any way. I think this is what I love. Everybody's invited. People can come to learn. People can come to tell. It's great. I really think
I was talking to Craig Lynch from EasyJet, and Craig's one of our stalwarts here.
Is,
very knowledgeable, and as his boss Aidan was saying yesterday, this is something that EasyJet has been doing for 20 years or so. So they're very much ahead of the game on predictive, because it's been baked into their strategy from that. But even Craig tells me he doesn't come here to tell everybody how to do it. He comes here to learn himself. And that's the attitude that someone that steeped in this is still learning and still can spend 2 days in that conference room absorbing information to take back and make them do things better. So that's great to hear. Actually.
I think it is. Yeah.
The other thing I think I've taken from a number of the sessions this week is the sheer complexity. There was one just a minute ago with AMAC.
Oh yeah.
Everything's so complex. I think Boeing also gave that impression that there were so many stakeholders all got a role to play. This is a very complex and knotty problem to solve.
Yes.
Maybe there isn't a solution, but it's the desire to solve it is what we're all talking about. Is that how you see things? That this is just never going to be. We're never going to get to an end point, but as long as we're aiming for that end point, we're making things better incrementally.
I think yes, that's true. But I think we will. I think someone made the point, and I agree with this totally. It's a journey, and it's also you're probably not ever going to end, because always things will be changing. Technology will be changing, attitudes will be changing, and it's a continuous improvement. So as you learn, add and learn, and I think again there's been a lot more openness this time about. It's not like there's not going to be a fixed solution, is there? It's we've just got to keep evolving and moving forward. I do like the fact for me that some of the things that have come up this time, maybe it's been a bit of an elephant in the room, is about data sharing and sort of data consistency and data quality. And people are now starting to talk a bit more about, do we need standards? So I don't know, but I just like the fact that it's coming out here and we're learning about it.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's a consensus that standards are required, just so we can talk on the same level. I mean, even some of the anachronisms that we use are the same, but they mean something different. And even unless you know the language you're talking in, you can't really understand
sort of
what everyone's talking
consistency and a definition. Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah. You like you said, you were at the PAM conference a couple of years back in London at the Ham Yard. And the collaborations word kept coming up there, which is what you're talking about really with the data sharing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Has in the years that have gone since then, has that collaboration, do you think, got better, or at least there's an attitude that we can collaborate and should collaborate in this?
I think there are definitely levels of collaboration. I think it's clear from the discussions that I've heard today that the last 2 days, that there's still room for improvement. There's still a journey to go on. But at least, as I say, we're talking about it. And I think it's probably where data crosses boundaries between between companies, where we see the challenge. We've got this there's IP and data, and people are not necessarily wanting to share. So I think there's a lot more dialogue to have. But I think we're seeing agreements come up, and people are being prepared to exchange data. And it feels to me that, because I'm a data scientist, that the more we can get the more data available to tackle these problems, then the better the solutions will be.
Yeah. Your panel yesterday was specifically about engine predictive and analytics, etc. Are there specific aspects towards engine predictive that is different to everything else? And then even within that, are there specific ways of addressing specific engine types as well that means you have to adapt things? So this, and again, that builds into the complexity of what we're talking about here.
I mean, as we know, engines is one of the most expensive assets on the aircraft. So I dare say the engine has more data available than probably some of the other assets, and not as much. It's always going to be challenging to monitor the data, and I think that's where we see we're having to do more intelligent things with that data to make the kind of diagnosis that the detection and diagnosis that we need to. I think when you're looking at go the other extreme with LRUs, there's not a lot of information comes off those, and I think people talk a lot about no fault found, and I think that's where a lot of that information, that's where that discussion's coming from. So there's obviously a big difference between engines and other parts of the aircraft. Then there's a lot of talk about how do you join all that stuff up to have a holistic view of the aircraft, because if something important's not working, then that's a problem. So are there greater gains to be had on the engine side then, because of the nature of engines, when you apply a proper predictive approach, do you think, for the industry? I think it's probably more fundamental. It's important with the engine, but I think ultimately when you're looking at an MEL to fly, you've got to make sure that everything meets that. So you should be really looking at everything. But I guess it's like we've heard a lot of talk about not low-hanging fruit, but I guess prioritising. And so I think it might be more of a priority. But I think as we get better, we want to broaden how we're applying data and analytics. And that's, I believe we're hearing that today.
Final thought is, as you leave here today, go back to GE and back to your day job, do you leave here, what do you leave here with? A sense of optimism? Is it invigorating to come here and go back?
Absolutely. We've been talking about what do we want to do next year, because obviously we've been presenting and we're quite excited. I think can we help in that data space? Can we help connect those data sources? I think there's things we can think about, standards, but there also are potentially technologies where people can perhaps have their data and share which bits they want. And so do we need to look more at that? There's all that side of it. I think I'm really looking forward to next year and hearing where people are on their journey and where they might get my next data point on trends and what's happening. So really looking forward to that.
Well, good. We're looking forward to coming back next year and seeing you again.
Brilliant.
Thanks very much for joining us again at PAM.
And thanks for inviting me to do this.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Okay, so our next interviewee on this special ABN cast, recorded at Aviation Business News' annual Predictive Aircraft Maintenance Conference in Dublin, is Cameron Byrd. Cameron is the CEO and founder of, it's spelled AIXI, so do you pronounce it AIXI?
We say AIXI normally, or just AIXI, either one works.
Fine. And you're a startup, so you've actually just come off. It's lunchtime now, hence the noise in the background of people enjoying their food. But the final session before lunch was our special startup session, where you shared the stage with three other startups, I think, if that's right. And our friend Craig from EasyJet actually moderated. And the idea was we wanted to showcase startups, what you're doing, but also just discuss the role of startups in this sector, because it's a sector full of corporate giants.
Right.
And so you guys are the small guys being more nimble and more innovative. So we'll talk about how that is and how you're getting on with being more nimble and innovative in this industry. But just start off by telling us what is it that AIXI does? What is your technology? What is your product that you've developed?
Sure. Like our core product started with Southwest Airlines, who had a problem where they needed to code maintenance manuals, i.e. assign HEA codes to them.
Yeah.
They had a lady named Linda who was doing this by hand.
Okay.
She would do 1,200 a day.
Whoa. Okay.
And and it would take. She'd be behind, and eventually she retired.
Yeah.
So they asked us to do it.
So you're a digital
AI.
Linda.
Yes,
Yeah.
in fact, when we're at Southwest, they call our product Linda.
Okay.
It's been installed since 2022, and they still affectionately refer to it as
So
that.
Linda was a legend then.
Linda is a legend. She had blue hair.
Yeah.
She's in some of our presentations.
Okay.
And she has come back and visited, and she knows that it's called Linda.
Yeah, that's
affectionately.
really nice. There's a human element to it.
Yeah.
But there's a serious aspect to this, isn't there? Where technology, when it's good, when it's deployed well, and when it's really doing what it should do, is taking like tasks that really human beings don't need to be doing, those kind of repetitive tasks, and automating. And that's what obviously this does.
I mean, this is where we are in the AI world right now, right? Like today, automating boring human tasks is where AI excels.
Yeah.
In fact, humans are notoriously bad at coding data. Like, you don't want to sit there all day and that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 code, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
We need a way to do it better, faster. Like, our stuff is in real time, and it's more accurate than Linda.
So AI, I mean, the name obviously suggests that as well. Then AI is at the heart of what you do.
Yes. So I've been in AI for 16 years.
Okay.
I fell into it when I was going to go to the airport to fly. I'm a private pilot for fun.
Right.
And instead of flying, I went into a talk on AI and started asking questions. They hired me on the spot.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for 16 years.
So that's 16 years. So people might be under the misapprehension that AI is new, but obviously it isn't. Why is it, if it's not that new, why is it suddenly the topic of the day then? What's going on?
Well, the large language models and ChatGPT have leapfrogged the power of AI dramatically.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a revolution. Some of us have equated it to the dangers of it to be similar to that of nuclear power, in that it can change the world, but also is extremely dangerous.
In the wrong hands.
Yeah.
I mean, it will do. I mean, I think even the biggest proponents of AI, thinking of the Elon Musks of this world, do warn that in the wrong hands and without human intervention, without human oversight, we're potentially setting up something that could be very dangerous.
Oh, it's already being used all over the place for nefarious reasons. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I could go on to forever on that, but this is aviation.
You're obviously very positive about the role of AI in aviation. There are those who are more sceptical. There are those who think we're in a bubble. What's the truth? I read something recently and saw it was a blog post, and then a lot of people have gone and commented upon it, saying that the reason that people think it's a bubble is that we don't really as humans understand exponentiality. We don't understand how quickly things can grow when you're in exponential growth, and that is what we are in now with AI.
True. So I've done a lot of research on this and spoken with a bunch of fellows and women on what they think about this bubble. And as far as the technology, it is growing exponentially, so that's scary. People don't quite understand it. That's scary.
Yeah.
It reminds us a lot of the tech boom of the 90s. There's one major difference, though, and it has to do with it's actually making money. Like the tech boom, you'd have two companies merge, and all of a sudden they're worth 3 times as much, 10 times as much. But none of them had actual revenue coming in.
Yeah.
But there's real dollars.
Peel back the surface and there was nothing underneath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real dollars are coming into AI solutions.
Okay.
We are an example of it.
Yeah.
Now, are we a little bit out of range for the amount of dollars coming in? Maybe. There would probably be a correction, but it's not a bubble that's going to burst.
Yeah. We're in that exciting phase or excitement phase where the potential of the technology is talked up beyond its actual capabilities today.
Yeah.
But what normally happens is people it starts to go quiet, and you get this curve of adoption, and then suddenly you look back 20 years from now and go, oh, you know what? It's doing exactly what people said it would do 20 years ago, or maybe even more. So,
it's interesting what you just said. I'm not 100% behind that it can't do as much as everyone says it can do.
You think it can now?
I think that that's what people want to say.
Yeah.
But I think it's closer to what we think it can do than it would be in the past, than we have thought about it in the past.
That's what makes it different to other bubbles then, other tech bubbles.
Yeah.
So let's apply this to where we are today with the Predictive Aircraft Maintenance Conference. What does what you do apply to predictive, but not just predictive, I guess, but in a world where we're using predictive more intelligently in the industry, where do you fit into that ecosystem?
So what we've done is, let's see, predictive maintenance is about learning from the past, or any AI is about learning from the past. You take a neural network, or AI is really just a brain. It's like a baby, and you feed it what has happened in the past, and now it becomes super smart about this one topic. Like, let's say, predicting when the brakes are going to lock or something. Well, when you have this AI who knows all about that because of past events, it can then predict future events. It can then see the factors that lead to that. One of the things, so what we do is we don't deal with the sensor data as much, but we have cleaned up the historic data. So once we could do the coding the same way Linda could at Southwest, we then coded all of their historic data. And by that, I mean like 14 years in 4 hours. Like, all of the data is now correctly coded. It's coded the same way. It's consistent. That data can be used to learn.
Yeah.
And we have built tools on top of that data that inform technicians today. So we actually do a lot in the prescriptive maintenance, which is like, what do I do when I'm faced with this problem? Which is going to be a key part of predictive maintenance. Just because we're predicting a part will fail, what do we do?
Yeah.
Do we always change it?
Yeah.
Do we just clean it? Maybe we reprogram it. Maybe we wait 10 flights and then do it. You need a prescriptive tool to tell you what action should be taken.
That's it.
And that's
There's
where
a
we
lot
sit.
of talk about that, actually. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Predict the future.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different options to do once you know what the future's going to
Yeah.
do.
We've never been in a scenario where we know something will fail.
Yeah.
It's just assumed you replace it.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the right thing to do.
On the panel, you asked a few questions, obviously, about what you do. Oh, let's finish off that for a minute, because you set up your technology to do a very specific thing for Southwest. Are you now able to take that technology and apply it to a lot of other use cases? That's obviously the future, isn't it? Where you can apply this more broadly.
So Southwest is 737 specific, right?
Yeah.
And there was a concern about a lot of people in the industry that we wouldn't be able to pivot that to a different airline. Well, we've done it with Airbuses. We've done it with Embraer. We can do it in less than a week with the same accuracies because we have that knowledge right now. We have a core model that was created that we base everything off of. We can grow off of that model to kind of fine tune for what your airline's needs are, no matter what the fleet, no matter where you are in the world, no matter how you speak.
Yeah.
Assuming it's
that's
base of
actually
English.
one of the aspects of technology that's being built today. The idea, hopefully, to give it longevity and to make it future-proof, is it's either it's modular, but it's also interoperable as well. You're not just walking down a potential technology blind alley to find yourself stuck and having to wrap back out of it again. And that's all the operators, all the airlines want that because they want to future-proof their operations, don't they? You know?
Yeah. So we've actually done a really good job of modularizing all of our offerings. Yeah. So we can do it like if you just want this piece, we got a container. It can deploy. You can connect to it. You can get the brains of us and put it into your visualization, or you can use our visualization. It will plug and play however you want very nicely.
Okay. So just a final thought before you finish on just what it's like to be a startup in this industry. I said it's an industry that is dominated by household names, corporate giants. Maybe if you're not in the industry, you feel, how the hell does a small business break into something like this?
Yeah.
You need to be big to be in aviation. You're proving that's not the case. Is that because actually, no matter how big the key players are, they're always going to need somebody like you to just do something that's innovative, that's different, that they don't have the bandwidth to sort of focus on?
All the innovators I've seen in this industry are the small, nimble ones because the technology is moving that fast. None of the big players can keep up with it. They're trying, and they're adopting things that today seem fairly innovative or innovative for an airline. But the reality is in 10 years, they're going to be 20 years behind.
Yeah.
Because they're too slow to this adoption. So they need players like us. But it is hard to remain afloat.
Yeah, okay. It always is with startups. Most startups fail.
It's a little worse here, though.
Yeah. How is it then in terms of either finding funding, support from financial institutions for what you're doing, and/or support from the industry itself. A lot of airlines have incubators and so on, so they will look to support small businesses through this difficult early phase.
Yes, that's been great, actually.
Yeah.
We appreciate that kind of support. I haven't had too much trouble finding funding because what we have is real, and the people I am talking to understand that it's real.
Right.
Where we have trouble, it's just going the distance. Back when I worked at Intel, customers would say, "We're going to try that ourselves," and they'd be back in 6 months to a year saying, "We couldn't do it. Will you please do it for us?"
Yeah.
P.S. Half the budget's gone.
Sorry.
Sorry. But now in the aviation industry, because it's so slow, it's 1 to 3 years they're back.
Yeah.
And it's like, P.S. the budget's gone. So you got to be able to hang in there for that 1 to 3 years. Everyone just now.
There's a very long sales cycle.
Yeah. We were founded in 2019. COVID slowed us down. Installed in 2020 at Southwest. Just now, we're starting to get people coming back saying, "Oh, we tried to do it. We couldn't do it. Will you do it?"
So 19. So you were just before COVID. So let's scrape COVID from the record books. You're only four years old essentially. Yeah.
But it's hard to go 4 years when everyone else is trying it on their own, and you're like, "Oh, we just have to wait."
And what stage you just to finish off what stage you are in your progression? You seed funding round, first round.
We're looking for
Series B?
we're doing a seed round right now. It's all been angel funding so far. We're super lean and nimble because we take advantage of AI, which is half the problem. Like the airlines are trying to do more with less staff. Well, we're doing it, and we have the tools for them to do it. They just need to take advantage.
Yeah. Well, Cameron, thanks for coming. Thanks for being part of PAM this year and being on stage and telling us about what you're doing, and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been a blast. We really had a lot of fun here, and we've learned a lot, actually. But there's a lot of stuff we didn't know. So that's wonderful.
That's exactly why we do this.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Thanks, Cameron. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.